Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, people from all over. How are you? How are you, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you. Great to have you. As usual, I'm your host, Jakes, the moderator. Sorry, I've been under the weather, but I'm good now. We are good to go. We are now officially fully back. Now, all the hiccups and all the misses have been destroyed. Now we are good. 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 Sorry for that. How are you? Let me know where you're watching me from. Karibu kwa hii show ingine fiti, show ingine kali, show yako, show fiti ambayo tumekuandalia. Wewe Mkenya ambaye unajiunga nami jioni ya leo, karibu sana. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Karibu sana kwa hii show yako, show kali. Show umekuja kupenda. Pole, jana tulikuwa na kamshki kidogo, lakini sasa tuko sawa. Nao mshki zimeisha, mshki zimeisha. Tuko back. Tunashukuru Mungu kwa afya. Namshukuru Mungu kwa sababu yako wewe Mkenya. Asante kwa kuungana nami. Asante sana kwa kuwa miongoni mwa wale ambao uchagua kutazama kipindi hiki. Tumesota. Tumesota kama Kenya, tumesota kama gava, tumesota kama nchi. It's interesting that now the country has been termed broke. I'll be telling you more about that and why we are broke. But let me know where you're tuning in from. Like this video, subscribe to Afric24. Let's keep the conversation going. The reason why you subscribe, one, is to enable this channel to grow. Two, it's to enable our followers to be notified, especially you, our viewers, whenever we are live on a show like this one. So subscribe to Afric24. Let's keep this channel upload, and you are the one who will do that. Let me know where you're watching me from. Naona wengi tayari wameshaingia, mmejaja. Karibuni sana. I'm your host Jakes, the moderator, and I love to really know where you're watching me from. Nijuze unantazama ukiwa wapi. Let me know unantazama ukiwa wapi. We are not in a good place. I'll be telling you why we are not in a good place, despite all that we were told, all that we do every day, all the taxes, all the revenue, the levies that we pay daily. We are not in a good place. Yeah, I hope the situation will change for the better, but we are not in a good place. I'll be telling you more about that, but allow me to know where you're watching me from. Zaidi ya yote, like hii video. Can I read one or two? Yeah, thank you. I see Dan Kemboi akondani, asante sana. Moses Muthe from Mombasa, unasema Moses ako Mombasa. Karibu sana Moses Muthe kwa hii show. Let me know where you're watching me from. Alphonse Nzioka, I see you. Unaniambia unanitazama ukiwa Imara Daima, Embakasi South. Karibu sana watu wa Embakasi, watu wa Kanairo. Karibuni watu wa Mombasani, karibuni watu wa wapi? Kilifi, watu wa Lamu, karibuni sana. Good year, I see you. Thank you so much. We are good. Thank you. We are good. We are broke. We are broke despite all the taxes, despite all the changes in the laws that makes our taxation possible. We are broke. Imagine. Despite all the changes, all the new laws, all the new amendments, we are broke. I see good here, my good friend Akotayari ndani anasema, hi Jex, I can't believe that we are broke. Yeah, we are broke, good here. We are broke. Let me see when you like hii video. Asante sana. Namwona Frank Ondote amelike hii video. Afro Nzioka amelike hii video. Rory Nkoranya amelike hii video. Jimmy Njuguna, I see you. Asante sana kwa kulike hii video. Like hii video mbio hapo kwa Facebook, like hii video hapo kwa YouTube. Na zaidi ya yote, subscribe to Afric channel. I'll be telling you more of things that are about to happen here at Africa. So stick around. This is becoming good. We are now very, very good. We had some issues, but now we are good. We are stable. We are confident, and we assure you of the very, very best. You can trust that this channel will really entertain you in all avenues. Asante sana kwa kujiunga nami. Nijuze unanitazama ukiwa wapi. Let me know unanicheki ukiwa wapi. Kenya tumesota, Uko mtaani wanasema tumesota. We are broke. We have no money. You know, when I heard Gachagua say to the governors that there is no money for helping them during floods, I thought he was joking. Only for us to hear it is true. We have no money. This is how it started. We had a show about this topic. We talked about it, of course, from a different angle. And today I'll take it a notch higher. If you haven't watched this show, please watch it. The previous show, the day before yesterday, we had this show where we were discussing the MPs wakiwa wamegoma. This is where it all began. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
The government is always supporting their executive programs to the detriment of CDF. So what we are saying is that we have suspended all sittings, all government businesses until CDF is expanded to our schools. Now, in January, new students are joining from 1. There are those who are continuing in high school. So we are saying they must provide money now and not later. No CDF, no parliament. 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 No CDF, no parliament.
And they went on and on. No CDF, no parliament.
The government is always supporting.
No CDF, no parliament. That was the clarion call just a day, I think a day or two ago. Now, walipo sema no CDF, no parliament, of course they had to invite the cabinet secretary for treasury, and he came in with some damning revelation. Nakwambia, despite them arrest control of budget, yeah, who really exposed a lot of issues in our budget making processes, and you know, among many expenditures and all, where the CS came to parliament. I'll be telling you what she said. Oh, sorry, what he said. Naona wengi wanatuma ujumbe, namuona hapa Ruth Nyamburu anasema niko tuned in Jex, nimekuona. Pia nami Ruth nimekuona, asante sana, karibu sana kwa show. We are broke. Forgive me, I have a cold, so I'll try to balance my usual. But anyway, I hope you understand me. But we are broke. As a country, we are broke. We are not doing well. Now, let's go back. Can we go back? You remember when they came to power, they told us that the coffers were empty. Correct. That they said. They told us we are not doing well. We inherited, if I borrow some of their sentiments, we inherited a dilapidated economy, empty coffers. We were not doing well. We had huge debts. That's what they said. And we had to stop digging. We were in a hole. We were to stop digging. How are we to stop digging? We were to stop borrowing, number one. And we were to find a way to pay our debts. Some were maturing very fast. Others, actually, by December, most will begin to be paid. Right? And I remember during the State of the Nation, the president assured the country that the economy is not bad. In fact, we will be paying close to $500 million shillings to meet, I think, the Eurobond and most of the taxes. That he said. He assured the country we are at a sound state. I want to even quote him by playing him directly.
Ile mahali hatari tulikuwa kwa mambo ya uchumi, sasa hatuko hapo. Mambo iko sawa.
Okay. He said mambo iko sawa. At this point, he was saying that we don't need to worry. You and I don't need to worry that what he has done, him and his team, him, the government, of course, and parliament, through the laws that they have so far implemented, we are okay. Yeah, that's what he said. He said, sasa tuko sawa. This is like several months back. Akasema tuko sawa. Si mimi, don't usininuku visivyo. Listen to our president.
Wasiwasi. Ile mahali hatari tulikuwa kwa mambo ya uchumi, Sasa hatuko hapo, mambo iko sawa.
Mambo iko sawa. These were his words. Mambo iko sawa. In fact, I remember, I think in the around in the month of June, July, there, most counties receive all the county funds on time, and they praised the government. And he said it's because everything is now okay. You remember there were issues of delayed salaries. You remember, yeah? Then they said, we don't need to borrow to pay our salaries. That's what they said then. We said, we just need to tax ourselves, to depend on ourselves, and we will be able to handle our issues. Very good. Well said by the president and many who think like him, and of course, Kenya Kwanza. And he gave this country an assurance. Ladies and gentlemen, these were his words. Least are misquoted.
Na mimi nataka niwaambie msikuwe na wasiwasi. Ile mahali hatari tulikuwa kwa mambo ya uchumi, sasa hatuko hapo. Mambo iko sawa. Kazi ambayo tumefanya kwa miezi mitano iliyopita, tumehakikisha kwamba tumedhibiti hali ya uchumi. Sasa tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba ile kazi ambayo tulikubaliana na nyinyi tuanzishe. Now that we have stabilized the economy of the Republic of Kenya, tumepunguza madeni. Tulikuta kwenye budget kulikuwa na madeni imerundikwa kutoka hapa mpaka Johannesburg. Tukapunguza kwanza, ingine tukasema tuondoe bilioni 300, tumeweka kando. Na lazima tutengeneze budget ambayo inatoshana na zile pesa tunakusanya.
Pause, wadau. Now, up to this point, I don't know if you are like me, some hope began to crop in many of us. I was hoping that we will never hear again, we are unable to pay our debts, we are unable to pay our workers, we are unable to provide on time CDF, as much as some of us don't agree fully with how CDF is being implemented. Well, now, after that show that we had, so go back and watch the show. After that show that we had, the CS came to Parliament. Now, listen to what the CS had to say.
Ndogo says the country is in a financial crisis and the government is literally struggling to stay afloat.
Hey, Jeff, pause kwanza. The government is literally struggling to stay afloat. Now, this one is only a day or so ago. Despite all the huge taxes they are taking, hata kuna zingine bado hawajaanza kutumia, including the housing levy hii ambayo tunakatwa haijaanza kutumika bado, because of course kuko na gag order from the court and all. So pesa ziko, wameongeza NHIF, which is now not NHIF, is social something health forever. Now that they have added, they have added all that. Yeah, they increased the VAT from 8 to 16%. They increased taxes. Hata wale walikuwa nalipo more than $500,000 walikuwa nalipa, I think, from 35% from what they used to pay before. All that bado hatujaweza. Now, I want you to note this. We don't have development projects happening at the moment. Unlike Uhuru's time, who would say there are projects ongoing. Yeah, what they used to describe as legacy projects. Here, we cannot really say we have very huge infrastructure projects going on, right? We don't want to say that we have cleared all our debts, hence we don't have money. We still owe many people. In fact, we are still being given even more money. But despite all that, we are broke. We are broke. Very broke, to the level that the CS anatuambia, you know what? We are not doing so well. As a country, we are struggling. Now, you'll be listening to Jeff. He will tell you how we are struggling. We are not able to pay our teachers, or rather our salaries to civil servants. We are not able to dispatch to CDF on time. Counties wamekuwa complain. Huh? And it is now official, ladies and gentlemen, that we are struggling. We are struggling. Listen to this, even as I bring you more of what the CS had to say.
Before the National Assembly's Finance Committee, the Treasury boss says they are having difficulties in raising salaries for civil servants, let alone the MP's demands for 9 billion shillings in NG-CDF disbursement. And as our very own Stephen Leto reports, Ndongo blames the current crisis on the El Nino rains, among other issues.
Government employees could be staring at a dry Christmas holiday, going by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndung'u's admission that the country is in a financial fix. Appearing before the Kuria Kimani-led Finance Committee of the National Assembly, the Treasury CS told MPs that the government has not collected enough revenue due to the extreme El Nino rains.
1 year, Kenya has gone into two extremes. There's a severe drought, and now there is El Nino. In both cases, we have reallocated budget, a supplementary budget, and recurrent budget, and even development budget to save lives in both cases. At the same time, because those extremes also create a recession, we are not getting adequate tax revenues. So you can imagine.
According to the CS, the revenue shortfalls have been exacerbated by the heavy rains pounding the country, occasioning new demands on government funds. The failure to meet revenue targets could in the long run affect payment of civil servant salaries on time.
So in a sense, we are struggling just to be on the same position. By the way, I can tell you, we are even having trouble with salaries. We are clearing salaries with arrears. In fact, that's what I started looking at in the morning. I was even called by the governor in Nairobi County telling me that, look, I'm going to be impeached. What are we going to do? I have not given salaries. You can imagine it's a liquidity issue which is short term.
Please share the truth before time catches up with you.
Wadau, at times I struggle. I don't know if you struggle like me. I struggle to digest some information. Now, a whole CS is telling us that Nairobi governor ako karibu kuwa impeached kwa sababu ya kutolipa salaries. Let's not even talk about Nairobi. Yeah, that's a whole different issue because Nairobi is not national government. It's a county government on its own. So whether Sakaja is impeached or not, we cannot attribute that to the state of our economy. Yeah, Sakaja daily ye uokota do kupitia zile gari ziko packed in Nairobi among many other sources of income in Nairobi before hata apokee pesa ambazo anapokeanga from the national government. But now here is a CS telling us, ladies and gentlemen, that we are so broke that kulipa mshahara ni ngori. Yani it's difficult. sorry, I might be using so much slur language, but think about it. How did we get here? At what point will they stop blaming things? Now they are blaming the floods, which are 4 weeks old. They have blamed the drought that they say now drought is no longer an issue. Now they are blaming floods. Initially, they were blaming Uhuru Kenyatta. At what point will they now begin to own up? To own up and say, we are unable to, we are defeated, we are not well able to deliver to the people of Kenya. Because as it is, these excuses after excuses, blame after blame, allocating issues that are not even relevant. Now, do we term our economy broke because kumenyesha 4 weeks? We are so broke. We didn't have money. What happens to the billions that the president, anaenda nje anapewa? What happens to that money? What is happening? Welcome so much to this show. We are just introducing. So nanijua tu mimi lazima kwanza ni kuintroduce show, then I invite you to join me in the studio. Asante sana. I'll be playing you more of that and more of what is happening. And waldau msisahau, there is, despite us being broke, wacha to agree to go broke, if that is okay. We are broke, but there's some other news. We want to bring back the CAS position. Actually, it is in the first reading in Parliament. I'll be telling you about that. So that we introduce the CAS. You remember they were around 50 something that the president introduced the other day. Now we want to introduce them. We want to introduce the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, which is there, yeah, but we want now to entrench it in the Constitution. We want to bring the office of the official opposition leader with 2 deputies. Don't even forget the gender issue. So the 2/3 gender rule itaanza tena kuapply. More offices. Na hizi offices zenye tayari ziko, the CS is already admitting we are struggling to pay these offices. Sorry. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tayari tunalemewa, but we are able to add more offices? Really? We are able to maintain CAS, to maintain an opposition leader, to add more offices. We are able to do that despite our economy, and we are broke. Let's imagine, kwako uko broke, hauna hata do, but bro, unaendea kilo 10 kwa bucha, hauna hata do, you have nothing. Between you and poverty, there's no distance. Yeah, inside you and your wallet, there is nothing, and then you go get 10 kgs of meat. How will you even pay it? And probably you even don't have a guarantee where you'll get your money. Welcome to this show. I'm your host, Jakes, the moderator, and I love that you have chosen this to be your evening show. I see Kevin Mutinda may like hii video, asante sana. Dennis Babu, I thank you so much kwa like hii video. Frank Ondote, asante sana. Florence Nzioka, asante sana. Lori, asante sana, na Jimmy Njuguna, na wengi ambao mna like hii video. Now, we are broke. As a country, we are broke. We are not doing well. We are not doing well. How did we get here? Listen to this clip slowly so that usi quote Jakes. Listen to this clip again.
Treasury boss says they are having difficulties in raising salaries for civil servants, let alone the MP's demands for 9 billion shillings in NG CDF disbursement. And as our very own Stephen Leto reports, Ndongo blames the current crisis on the El Nino rains, among other issues.
Government employees could be staring at a dry Christmas holiday, going by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndungu's admission that the country is in a financial fix. Appearing before the Kuria Kimani-led Finance Committee of the National Assembly, the Treasury CS told MPs that the government has not collected enough revenue due to the extreme El Nino rains.
1 year, Kenya has gone into 2 extremes. There's a severe drought, and now there is El Nino. In both cases, we have reallocated budget, a supplementary budget, and recurrent budget, and even development budget to save lives. In both cases.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, he has talked of 1 year. Okay, fair enough. They told us they had money for the El Nino. You remember? Around 10 billion thereabouts. Now they're saying they have no money. In fact, they're using the supplementary budget and all to help in cushioning Kenyans with this El Nino, and of course, previously, the drought that we had. Wow. Okay. Sijui kama wewe unachoka kama mimi. Well, I don't know if it is true, but the president is willing to sell our cheaters. I'm yet to confirm that at a tune of 38 billion because it's about to be extinct. I'll verify that story properly for you. But as well, let me inform you on that we are willing to even sell KICC. Sorry. We are willing to sell KICC. We are willing to sell some corporations simply because we feel we are broke. And I think now we understand why they really want to sell them, because we are broke. maybe hapo kwenyu there is something that the government is doing. You're able to say hapa kwa show that enyewe we are broke kwa sababu hapa kwetu there is a huge project going on courtesy of this government. There is a huge development project happening where we are, maybe in Moranga, maybe in Kisii, maybe in Isiolo. Probably there's a project ambayo may take all our funds. Maybe IMF can come out and say, yeah, it's true you guys are broke because you have paid us in full what we had lent you guys. World Bank maybe probably may come the same and say that we, of course, had given you money, you have paid us back in full, so we understand why you're broke. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember the budget here last year walipunguza to 300 billion ili isaidie kukosha some of these things. President amesema wamereduce wale wasi wana travel, wamecut costs of so many other things ili kureduce budget, but we are still broke. We are broke. Oh, we are very, yani tumesota in short. In other words, hatuna pesa. As a country hatuna pesa. Despite gharama ya maisha kuwa juu, despite the taxes kuwa juu, despite the president removing all the subsidies that were there before, we don't have money. You know, maybe we would have said, anyway, we don't have money because we have been tumeweka subsidies kwa fuel, tumeweka subsidies kwa gharama ya maisha in terms of hospital bills, nini, tumeweka subsidies everywhere that we have no money for development, we have no money for CDF. Really? Tumesota hivyo. And kuna mtu anadai ya kwamba it's possible hii Christmas some guys might go without salary. True? I don't know. But the MPs washaanza.
The line, the government is always supporting their executive programs to the detriment of CDF. So what we are saying is that we have suspended all sittings, all government businesses until CDF is expanded to our schools. Now, in January, new students are joining from 1. There are those who are continuing in high school. So we are saying they must provide money now and not later. No CDF.
Now, as much as I don't agree with everything that the MPs are saying in terms of CDF for specific reasons, but they equally have a point. Why is it that before now, CDF haijai kuwa na story kibao, like in terms of how it was disbursed, but in Ruto's regime, we have seen counties struggle. We have seen constituencies struggle. We have seen from January, students will struggle to go to school because some school fees have gone back to what they initially were, high levels of school fees. NHIF ilikuanga to 500 maximum, says it may increase, right? NSSF may increase. Taxes may increase, right? Everything has gone up from what Uhuru left. Everything has gone up. In fact, some of the things that Uhuru left were removed, like subsidies. Not that I'm praising the previous regime, but I'm saying that there are things that were there that are not here now. But we are extremely broke. We are broke. Jiunge nami kwa show. Let me know your sentiments wadau. Let me know what you're saying. Let me know what your sentiments are. Kujiunga nami kwa show si ngumu kupitia link ambao unatumiwa hapo kwa ujumbe. Hapo links zinaingia kwa wingi. Links zinaingia kwa wingi kupitia Mtembei TV, Mtembei Facebook, Mtembei Official, Afric 24 YouTube, Afric 24 Facebook. Kutumia hizo link unajikuta umeingia hapa StreamYard. StreamYard ukiingia unafanya nini? Unawasha kamera, unaandika jina na unawasha mic, alafu na click enter. Ukiguza tu hiyo link ambayo nimekutumia hapo kwa comment section, hiyo link inakutuma moja kwa moja hapa kwa studio. We are discussing this issue. Is Kenya broke? And if you are broke, why are we broke? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to bear with me. Why are we broke? Why are we broke? Why are we broke? Despite these assurances, Why are we broke?
Ile mahali hatari tulikuwa kwa mambo ya uchumi, sasa hatuko hapo. Mambo iko sawa. Kazi ambayo tumefanya kwa miezi mitano iliyopita, tumehakikisha kwamba tumedhibiti hali ya uchumi. Sasa tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba ile kazi ambayo tulikubaliana na nyinyi tuanzishe, now that we have stabilized the economy of the Republic of Kenya. Tumepunguza madeni. Tulikuta kwenye budget kulikuwa na madeni imerundikwa kutoka hapa.
Okay. Madeni yalikuwa yamefika Johannesburg. Maybe we need an update. Saizi zimefika wapi? Maybe zimekuja zimefika maybe Timboroa. Zilikuwa Johannesburg huko South Africa. Maybe zimekuja. I don't know. You know, we don't have a report, a very well brought out report of how much we have paid in terms of our debt, what we owed, how much we have paid, and what is remaining as a balance. That one we don't know. So tunalipanga tu kwa giza, right? We don't know how much we have already accrued in this regime. How much loan have they as well accrued on their own as KK government? We don't know when it will mature. We don't know what are the terms and conditions. But we are broke. Wow. But despite us being broke, hatuna do, lakini we have the ability to do this. Listen to this.
Other things seeks to establish and better define the role of chief administrative secretaries went through its first reading in Parliament today. The National Government Administrative Laws Amendment Bill that seeks to make various amendments to 4 acts is viewed as a route to revive the scarce positions that was declared unconstitutional by the High Court in July. We get more from our very own Victoria Rubadiri.
Efforts to revive the controversial position of Chief Administrative Secretary have re-emerged just months after it was declared unconstitutional. This time it is in the form of a bill. The National Government Administration Laws Amendment Bill seeks to make various amendments to 4 acts, including the National Government Coordination Act, which intends to provide for the establishment and functions of the head of public service and offices of the Chief Administrative Secretary. Section 12A elaborates on the appointment process from the recommendation of nominees by the Public Service Commission to the President to approval by the National Assembly. The criteria that would make one eligible to be nominated as a CAS are a bachelor's degree, public service experience, and meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. In addition, factors that would deem them unfit for nomination are conviction of an offense, bankruptcy, being a holder of a political party position, being a member of Parliament, or a public or state officer, and lastly, if the individual has been impeached. A CAS will respond to issues relating to their portfolio, liaise with Parliament and county governments, as well as provide interministerial and sectoral coordination, represent the Cabinet Secretary as directed, and perform any other duties assigned by the Attorney General or CS. These proposals ironically emanate from the National Assembly that only months ago declined to vet the CAS nominees handpicked by President William Ruto, saying it had no constitutional authority to do so.
I, Isaac Maigwa Mwaura,
being appointed a Chief Administrative Secretary.
This, however, did not stop the 50 CAS nominees from being sworn in by the President at State House in March this year. The Law Society of Kenya and Katiba Institute filed a successful petition challenging the appointment process. In July this year, the High Court dismissed the appointments, deeming them unconstitutional.
We do not think that it was the intention of the framers of the Constitution to have 50 CASs deputizing 22 cabinet secretaries.
The position of Chief Administrative Secretary was initially created by former President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2018 in a process the court later declared unconstitutional in 2021 due to, among other things, lack of public participation. Last year, in September, however, President Ruto proposed to establish the position again, but this time with public participation. Victoria Rubadiri, Citizen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've allowed that to play so that you may listen in to some of the sentiments therein mentioned. That number one, if the previous appointment is anything to go by, the president had appointed 50 CISs, 50 of them. But we are broke. We are very broke, 50 of them. Now, Parliament, it may introduce E. It is now in its first reading. So it undergo all the processes and eventually it might become law. Before I even forget, Kimani Nchungwa, I think this week or last week, I may introduce one story house levy in government report for 5 days. Imeletwa tena. It's now back in Parliament. It will be properly be scrutinized and of course to be prepared so well so that it meets all that it lacked for it to be termed constitutional. Yeah, because it was declared null and void. Now, they want to bring back the CAS. They want to bring back all these appointees. But at whose cost? You, mwananchi, will bear the cost. Despite now, saizi gharama ya maisha, you know how it is. You know out there. You know. I don't even need to tell you. You know. You know. Because if everything was okay, I don't think I would be complaining. And I'm not saying we are complaining because everything is not okay. Actually, everything is not okay. That's why we are complaining in the first place. Right? We are so broke that we need 50 CISs to help us from this crisis. And you know, these 50 CISs come with a budget, not in terms of hundreds, but billions. We want to change the constitution to include the position of a opposition leader simply because we feel that with that office, our economy will do well. And of course, maybe we might not be broke again. The cost of fuel is not anything to laugh about. Our dollar against the shilling and shilling against the dollar is not doing so well, is it? I see Bernard Ndudu akondani. Asante sana Bernard, nasema uko in. Karibu sana kwa show. Who else is in? I see Paul, namwona Paul akondani. Karibu sana. Namwona Chwea Ibra akondani. Asante sana. Nani mwingine akondani? Nitumie tu ujumbe hapo kwa comment section. Namwona Arapsang akondani. Asante sana. Dan Kemboi, I see you. Kelvin Mtinda, I see you. Asante sana kwa ujumbe zenyu. Thank you so much for your sentiments. Fred Makasi, I see you. Kelvin Blair, I see you. Kevin Blair Senior, I see you. Chok Min Rose, I see you. Asante sana. Ruth Nyambuto, asante sana for your sentiments. Na wewe ambao unatutazama, wangapi pia wamelike hii video? David Kiprono, asante kwa kulike hii video. Nani mwingine hapa? Namuona Simosi Kazilo, asante sana. David Juma, asante sana. Arab Sang, I see you, asante sana. Kelvin Mutinda, asante kwa kulike hii video. Ruth Nyabuto, asante kwa kulike hii video. Dennis Babu, asante kwa kulike hii video. Frank Odote, asante sana kwa kulike hii video. Do you agree we are broke? Do you agree we are broke? Really, do you really agree we are broke? Because kuna mahali nafika, we ask ourselves this question: where is our money going? Every day we pay taxes. Every day there's someone somewhere doing a transaction that eventually somehow the government will get some money out of it. Every day, actually, if I may speak well, every minute, any transaction you do, there's tax in it. That tax does not just go anywhere. It lands in the government coffers. Where is it going, ladies and gentlemen? That we are unable to really meet our needs or our debts or our sustenance. We are not able to sustain ourselves as a country. We are not able to do that. Why? I don't know. We are blaming things that tuna blame sasa mvua. Tuna blame drought. Tuna blame El Nino. Tuli blame Uhuru. Tuli blame empty coffers. Tuli blame. But really, at what point do we now start blaming this government? Because I think now it's time we call it out and simply say these guys are unable to govern. As simple as that. They are not able to. I could be wrong, but they are not able to. Humphrey Olwatch, I see you. Unaniambia uko ndani. Karibu sana. Karibu sana wadau. Karibu sana wadau. And then my other problem is this. Where is the truth? Because this was the president some days back.
Ile mahali hatari tulikuwa kwa mambo ya uchumi, sasa hatuko hapo. Mambo iko sawa. Kazi ambayo tumefanya kwa miezi mitano iliyopita, tumehakikisha kwamba tumedhibiti hali ya uchumi. Sasa tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba ile kazi ambayo tulikubaliana na nyinyi tuanzishe, now that we have stabilized the economy of the Republic of Kenya. Tumepunguza madeni. Tulikuta kwenye budget kulikuwa na madeni kwa kutoka hapa mpaka Johannesburg. Tukapunguza kwanza, ingine tukasema tuondoe bilioni 300, tumeweka kando. Na lazima tutengeneze.
Someone may argue that that is an old clip. Can I play you a clip last week?
Look ahead on the month that begins tomorrow. President William Ruto says the country is now on the right economic trajectory and that Kenyans should start realizing the benefits of the government's interventions in taming the cost of living from December. The president spoke during celebrations of one-year anniversary of the Hustler Fund here in Nairobi. Ruto announced an increase in the Hustler Fund loan limit for Kenyans who've consistently borrowed from the kitty since its inception last year. The head of state blamed the previous administration for what he termed poor policies that contributed to uncontrolled borrowing and accumulation of public debt, as Seth Olale reports.
President William Ruto used the Hustler Fund first-year anniversary ceremony to take stock of his administration's input on the economy.
Niko na mambo kama matano hivi nitasema hapa. Sio yale matatu, leo ni matano.
The head of state announcing that the economy is now steady.
Mimi nataka niwatangazie Wakenya ya kwamba sasa tumedhibiti uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
Sasa tumedhibiti. That was last week as we were celebrating the Hustler Fund anniversary. That was last week. Tumedhibiti. Even before the dust settled, and Kenyans maybe begin to celebrate, even before that, the CS
a financial crisis, and the government is literally struggling to stay afloat. Appearing before the National Assembly's Finance Committee, the Treasury boss says they are having difficulties in raising salaries for civil servants, let alone the MP's demands for 9 billion shillings in NG CDF disbursement. And as our very own Stephen Leto reports, Ndongo blames the current crisis on the El Nino rains, among other issues.
Government employees could be staring at a dry Christmas holiday, going by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndungu's admission that the country is in a financial fix. Appearing before the Kuria Kimani-led Finance Committee of the National Assembly, the Treasury CS told MPs that the government has not collected enough revenue due to the extreme El Nino rains.
1 year, Kenya has gone into two extremes. There's a severe drought, and now there is El Nino. In both cases, we have reallocated budget, a supplementary budget, and recurrent budget, and even development budget to save lives. In both cases. At the same time, because those extremes also create a recession. We are not getting adequate tax revenues. So you can imagine.
According to the CS, the revenue shortfalls have been exacerbated by the heavy rains pounding the country, occasioning new demands on government funds. The failure to meet revenue targets could, in the long run, affect payment of civil servant salaries on time.
So in a sense, we are struggling just to be on the same position. By the way, I can tell you, we are even having trouble with salaries. We are clearing salaries with a
Well, we are broke, oh, very broke. But before we even talk about being broke, mwenye hata wana to control your budget. Mwenye control budget sasa, mwenye hata wanahakikisha pesa ziko vizuri. You remember pia kuna time aliallow 26 billion over a WhatsApp text. 26 billion zikatoka tu hivyo kwa account within 26 minutes, eh? Yeah. Within 26 minutes. Well, of course, naye ako pabaya around here.
The other area is borrowing without a plan. This one, I'm using it in a very colloquial sense, in the sense that I have been approving payments of public debt, and I've looked at what we are paying for. Many of those things cannot be identified. You just find a name of why we borrowed. You cannot trace it to anything. You cannot tell what the money was spent for, and therefore there was no economic gain from that borrowing. It is just like taking Fuliza and then you go to the bar and drink it all.
The things alisema before hata aingie kwa masaibu, that one, kuna watu wamebudgetia corruption, inflated salaries, unakuta msee moja analipo mara tatu, but the actual pesa ambayo inaingia kwa account ni moja, so hizi mbili kuna venye. Yeye anasema yeye kazi yake ni kulipa madeni, lakini ajui inalipo kwa nini na ajui inalipo aje, right? Huyo ni control our budget. Huyo si wewe na mimi. We have no access to those things. We have zero access. We don't control our finances. She's the one in charge, but she's now facing charges in court. I don't know if it's associated with what she was raising, but zaidi ya yote, she's raising issues that our money at times it pays things she cannot explain. So if control our budget has explain, mimi kama Jex, mimi mtu wenyu tu hapa, how do I explain why we are broke? Probably you know, probably you have an answer, but thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I see my friend Stella Wangare amejaja, karibu sana. For you to join me, I wish to explain to you how you do that. Kupitia StreamYard, hiyo ndio link ambayo unaingia nayo. Hiyo link iko kwa comment section. Unatumia hiyo link, inakutuma moja kwa moja hadi hapa StreamYard. Ukiingia StreamYard, unafanya nini? Unawasha kamera, unawasha mic, alafu unaandika jina. Unaweza andika majina yote, unaweza andika jina moja kwa mapenzi yako tu, alafu una click enter. Ukiclick enter, unajiunga nami hapa kwa studio na tunakuwa na show moja fiti kali kuliko kila mtu, Kenya is broke. I don't know what to say, but maybe Stella has something to say. Stella, it's good to see you. How are you?
Poa sana Jake.
Siku nyingi bwana. Umepotea hapa nyuma, lakini natumai uko mzima.
Niko sawa, lakini it's really frustrating. It's not good. It's not looking good.
Yeah.
So You see, currently we're having the El Nino issue. Now they're giving an excuse. So today they've published the housing bill. Housing bill, even we don't understand what is going on. Sasa
Yeah.
wameanza kuweka stiffer penalties. So we are
Mhm.
like, why do you have a bill which is null and void because hata haina legal framework?
Mhm.
Okay, on the issue of the country being broke, let me tell you, this is public negligence. So what I can say, the people who are meant to be custodians, who is the treasury, they need to explain why this money is disappearing, because we cannot have people paying taxes and yet we are being overtaxed. Then they are telling us, look, we are still broke. We don't understand why the president anashinda kitangatanga akienda kutafuta loan juu nasikia alikuwa India, then nasikia akaenda mpaka Dubai, yet all these foreign trips he's making, we don't see even the what is of use. At least the previous regime, that was Uhuru, at least tulikuwa tunajua he used to go and borrow, and at least you see the money which we are being loaned, at least you can see some development. This guy has gone over how many trips? I think they're over 43 trips. So all this money enye anaenda anachukua anaenda naomba, what development is it there? Hakuna development. Let me tell you, Jakes, at a bridge there is no bridge. At least for Uhuru you can say that at least there was a road which was being extended, at least there was a bridge, there was Dongo Kundu, there was some just some structures. At least you can say that this guy really worked hard.
Mhm.
Now we don't understand why are we having brokenness right now, yet these people have been, when they have overtaxed our payslip, they have overtaxed our household, they've also overtaxed our own personal relief. So we were wondering if KRA, they keep on collecting, and yet KRA as a collector, who is supposed to receive that money and account? It is the treasury. So the treasury should explain to us this money, how it is coming in, how is it coming out. Right now, someone like calls Cherangei, the Senate, was very adamant, saying that tomorrow they are going to protest because their people have not been paid. They are also not getting CDF money, which is supposed to do development in their counties. So if the government can be that broke, you cannot pay even salaries for civil servants, that means we're in trouble, even as guys who are in the private sector. Because right now, even guys are really fearing putting money in their banks. It's a crazy scenario from last week when this Duge guy says that the benchmark of borrowing, it's going above 11%. So let me ask you, what happens to the hustler akena kuchukua loan? He'll be unable to pay loan because of excessive interest. Yet these people should understand, if I take a loan, I develop myself and I develop the country, and that's how I'm able to pay my taxes, and how my business can survive. But now you cannot borrow, then you are unable to pay. So the thing is, what's his name? Dr. Ndongo, or the CS, need to explain to Kenyans, why is there brokenness? Where are we with this money they've been collecting? Where is it? Because right now, I remember last week they were trying to divert. I think it's this week. I think this lady called Nyakango, they were they like kind of inflicted some accusations, yet this accusation you cannot point a finger. Jake, kuko na kitu, when there is a reaction, when there is an action, there must be a reaction. This is the same story when ilifika wakati wa mafuta. What did they do? They had to create a crisis to show that there is something to divert the attention of Kenyans. They used Anne Jerry. Now is Margaret Nyakango. Remember Margaret Nyakango, controller of budget. At least this woman came out and said that There is money which is paying excessively. There is money which is withdrawn excessively, but it's not going to development. Look right now, we are going through the Christmas season. Remember, kwanzia next year, what the government has done, kitambo tulikuwa tunapatiwangwa ile pesa ilikuwa inaitangwa the free primary and free secondary. Sahi imetolewa. Jakes, let me tell you, the government used to pay half of it, the parents half of it. Remember, that is a relief to a parent. Jotambiwa, pay 7,000, then the 7,000 is paid for the government. Remember, that child will be comfortable in school. Now, here it is. Now, a boarding school student going back, it will be around 20,000 shillings. Don't you know that this money is not for every parent? No parent can pay that money. So if that 56 billion, which they have refused to fund the secondary and primary, hiyo pesa inaenda wapi? We can't see that the country is broke. There is money. But the thing is, there is a lot of loopholes zinaingia zikitoka. And this is what I'm saying. There is a cartel inside. And someone has to flush out these cartels end of the day. Because let me tell you, we'll be a country where we'll go zero negative. Even our own bank accounts, they'll be attacked. You see, there's kuna kitu inaitwa a bag. You know, you can't tell how a bag starts with you. Ujui kama itaanza kama na mayai ama ianza ikiwa in a lava stage. Now, right now, we're in the lava stage. Everything is being inaumo. Sasa now, they've gone now to teachers. They are forcing teachers. If you read some article about TSC, how they are forcing teachers. So imagine mwalimu ule mwenye alikuwa anasoma a technical school and a university school. Why do you have to inflict them, telling them, no, you need to have this rank. If it is not that rank, you're out of the teacher's payroll of TSC. It's not fair, Jake. It's not fair. If you can frustrate doctors, you frustrate teachers, you frustrate nurses, you frustrate any civil servant, how would the government business of the day continue? Right now, wanaitangwaje, Nyayo House, and also let me say that in whatever, the Nyayo House guys or what were passport, they've gone back to their issue again. Wameenda kufanya nini? Wameenda on a go slow. Why? They were lied to that wataletewa mashini and na wataongeozeo staff. Akuna. So guys are still waiting for their passport, and those passports have not been printed. So if Kindiki took that story for a sideshow, we don't understand. Me, final, I want to say, someone has to expose this regime. I don't understand why the previous regimes, especially in the public sector, we were getting the services. Right now, it is hard. Now counties cannot even pay doctors. Now counties cannot pay nurses, cannot pay any of your civil servants. So what happens? So hii pesa yenye inapotea, Nyakango atuambie hii pesa inapotea namna gani? They should say who is leaking this money. Who is leaking this money? Because now we are going to December. Next year, wanaleta ile kitu inaitangwa chief, the one out of NHIF. Now that chief, it goes even, it's not how you were paying before. It is more. But yet to go to the hospitals, there is no medicine. There are no doctors. Why? Because the chief is meant to fund the hospitals which are accredited under them.
Okay.
But this thing has no legal framework.
Okay. Now, Stella, if we can break down we can break down this to more topical point by point. Now, let's begin from Uhuru Kenyatta. In his tenure, he had subsidies, but the country was never broke. In Ruto's tenure, we don't have subsidies, but we are broke. How do you imbalance that argument?
Let me tell you, that story of subsidy or no subsidy is just something to make it's just to put the sugar in your mouth. Let me tell you how I can tell you. During Kibaki's time, we also had the issue of taxes were added. I mean, Kibaki imposed everything 16%. Jake, we survived. But one thing with Kibaki, yes, the taxes were being paid and still we were borrowing, but we could see any development. At least we could see the infrastructure. Yeah, because if there's no infrastructure or energy, nothing can move in the country. Now we come to Uhuru's time. 2013 akiingia mpaka 2017 hakukuwa na story ya subsidies. Wacha tu tuonge ukweli. We were still surviving. Unaelewa? So subsidies ni ile ati ile pesa unapatia mtu kucushion so that a certain product isiende juu, as let me give like kama mafuta, like what do you call let's say energy or mafuta, any of that, because I know that is the crucial thing in Kenya right now. Now you see in Kenya mafuta ikiwekwa subsidy ati you are trying to cushion ndo isiende juu. Remember your pesa ni ya cartel. Who is being given that subsidy? Isn't it oil marketers? But yet those oil marketers still watakuja waseme dola ilipanda lakini mafuta lazima tuuze hivi. You see there is a way, this language ya subsidy ni ya kutuweka tu nini inaita kwaje, kuweka tu sukari kwa mdomo yetu. The subsidy, if they are saying about the one for the fertilizer and what, we can survive without it. So it's a way of diverting a language. Ndio sisi wa Kenya tuelewe Kenya wanasema, but sisi tunajua subsidy or no subsidy, hiyo pesa ni ya cartel. And who are the cartels? Number one, and whatever. Because let me ask you, if tukikosa hiyo subsidy, are we going to suffer? Are we going to suffer? It is just a language. The thing is, there is a lot of total mismanagement of this regime, starting from the treasury, who cannot even account on how 86 billion disappeared in the first 3 months after they have taken over. But they cannot come and tell us that the money disappears, and yet there is only an exchequer. An exchequer is a human being. They should tell us who is this person.
Okay, now let's even go back. Uhuru's strength of the dollar was around 140, kirudi chini, no, 112, 119, 125. But with Uhuru, we are talking of close to 160 at the moment. They may argue we don't have enough exports. They may argue we had inflated our shilling, or rather we had fixed our shilling so that the dollar looks, our shilling looks stronger. But is that really true? Is
No.
it just an indication that we are not doing well as a country?
Let me ask you. You've asked for Uhuru's regime. You're saying that he had borrowed how much?
According to them, they said that by the time he left office, we were talking of around 9 trillion.
It's okay, Jake. Siku kuna barabara zimetengenezwa. Siku na shule ziliongezwa.
Correct.
Aliongeza State Department.
Yeah?
Okay. Alijaribu kuleta SGR. Ameleta nini ingine? Ameleta ineta kwaje the dock in Mombasa, okay? Inaitwa aje, whatever that dock where the Chinese were trying to expand it. You see, that is the development. I can understand Uhuru overborrowed so that he can keep the camp, because infrastructure is key. Then number 2 is energy. Because kama kungekuwa na hizo barabara, I mean, the economy could not have moved. But now for this one, this regime, as we are speaking right now, Jakes, pesa enye wanasema it's how many trillions, whatever the trillion is, ni barabara gani imeongezwa? Hata zile zenye ziliachwa na Uhuru, mbona wajaendeleza? If you see people like Kenya, they are really struggling, paying contractors. There is an issue, Jake. There is an issue, and we cannot say that the government does not have money. It had money. People like AFDB, they pulled out. They said, you see what? We cannot, carry on with the project because you people, everybody wants to get greedy. Because a certain person in Kenya, we know it is one tribe, says he wants to be given si kickback, inaitangwaje ile ya kupaka mkono. Then ifike anaanza kufrustrate contractors. Wale contractors walikuwa wamekuwa nini shortlisted na akina nini like akina FDB. Why should that person in Kenya atoe alete contractor wake? You get? Look at PPPs right now. No one wants to shikana with Kenyan to do PPPs because they are being left at a risk. You see, when you're having a PPPs, public-private private-public partnership, let's say let me give you a program like the one for the road, the one for Nakuru and up to Mau Summit. It had to go up to all the way to Busia. There were consultants who came from South Africa. There was one consultant who came from Australia. There another consultant who came from Turkey. You know all these things. The legal framework was, sorry? I can't hear you.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I'm saying when the PPPs, when they come to the country, or maybe they have a project to do, you see, this is something which is public, where they should not have any interference with any political field. Be it a senator, be it a what, because this is something the government, like AFDB, are funding. The road comes, it starts from point A to point B. But now the thing is, the legal framework is like this. When the money, you see, like the government has to give a certain portion, PPP have to give a certain portion, then there is an investor who has to give a certain portion. But now the thing is, the narrative has changed. So when there is money when the government does not give sufficient money, or maybe they do not do their sufficient groundwork, they would do their physical study saying, oh, tulienda hapa, tukaona tutapita kwa mashamba ya watu, we need to settle people compensation and what. But you see, the regime of now, they are like telling PPPs, they also have to take the risk. The government should not take the risk. So what happens to the PPP? Kick rocks. I better go somewhere else, like in Ethiopia, or I go somewhere like Tanzania, which is very suitable for me, or I go to Uganda because people will respect my opinion. But now the government here is like, the number one said, we have to go through like this. If someone like an investor atatoroka aende Ethiopia ama aende Tanzania to do a project, it tells you what, that it's a conducive environment for them to work without any interference. So what is happening to Kenya? What is happening to Kenya? It's because everybody, like every MP or governor or whoever, they have to intimidate someone. But like right now, I can give you like an example. Kuko na hii project inaitangwa Galana Kulalu. You know it?
Yeah, now it was given to, I think the church was given to manage it.
But the problem is,
Anglican, I think, was given.
Remember, Galana Kulalu, the person who was working with that project was an Israeli. The Israeli, yes, the Israeli had to come out because the problem is there was political interference because sorry, I have to just say it. The governor of that place had to come to tell people, you cannot let a foreigner to come and run the program. Yet even the governor did not sit down to understand how Galana Kulalu is working. Remember, Galana Kulalu, these people came in kuonesha that, you see, like Tana River or semi-arid areas, they can survive without getting relief. But now, Galana Kulalu, it was interfered with politically during that time of the regime before this one came in. So the investor akaogopa, akasema, let me go away because if I stay here, my life will be at risk. Remember, he had made his money and he had already even paid for the community. So there's something called a CSR for the community. Now, there is another one called Lake Turkana Wind Power. Lake Turkana Wind Power, everybody understands, it is a project which is dealt with the Dutch. But now the problem is the governor of that country, the governor of that county comes and tells people that that land, it is supposed to be your land. So you can encroach or you do anything as you please. How was watakiwa hapo? So what happens? what happens? Wanafanya nini? Wana paradise wana paradise project ya hao watu. Then what happens? KPLC or Ketraco, they can't get steamer, then we have insufficient of steam because of interruption of political things. You see now, most investors, like right now, ukiangalia Nairobi Stock Exchange, Jake, if I tell you there are like more than 300 people who were there, companies, right now, they are down to less than 150. Why? One, the dollar rate is not conducive. Political interference. Another thing, the what do you call the aspect of an investor investing does not get any return. Because the thing is, remember that an investor is an international person. So akiambiwa, if you invest in Kenya and it is a red zone place where it is prone to risk, the investor is not going to invest. If you see
Now, of course, Stella, some questions would be asked. How did you even get here? For starters, given that you are raising very pertinent issues, yeah? But before all this, we would say, as you said earlier, we were surviving.
Yes.
Now, according to Ndongo, we are not even able to meet most crucial bills, paying of our staffs, funding CDF. Counties will soon join up, right? January will come with myriad of issues.
Yeah.
How do we even get here?
How we got here, sorry to say, it was this one was not classic negligence. This was classic ignorance. So if Ndongo, it is so surprising that Ndongo used to be the central bank governor. You remember?
Yeah.
In Kibaki's regime. So when he comes and giving us hot air, telling us that we do not have sufficient funds to take care of salaries of people, to take care of CDF, to take care of even pertinent issues like paying off small, they're called what? Paying off also the wage, not the wage bill, what this called, the pending bills. It is a story which he needs to tell us. He needs to tell us that, yes, there's money coming in. Maybe we have diverted money somewhere else. But, Jake, when you come back, why are you diverting money? Did you go to the house asking, because we are suffering here, we need money to be diverted there? And another thing, Jake, you cannot play with people's livelihood. You need salaries for those people to come to that office, work their ass off, so that they can collect more revenue and collect more taxes so that the country can run. So that means there's a place where kukona nyungu imetoboka mahali. And yet he's supposed to tell us, iyo shimo iko wapi. So coming to the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament before Kimani Kuria and his team talking about hot air, the thing is, these people are not asking the right question. If I was in that Public Accounts Committee, I could have asked if the exchequer was there. So he needs to say, okay, 20 billion you withdrew in this consolidated account. Who received that money and where did that money? Because wacha nikwambie, hiyo pesa hata kama imepelekwa iko na jina. Inaenda kwa mtu ama inaenda kwa kampuni. And out of those kampuni kuko na watu. So we need to have those names. We need to have those names. We need to know if these people have diverted this money offshore, so that when they want to finish the country, they go and enjoy in Malta or they go enjoy in Dubai. So they need to tell us where this money is going. Because you see, if the people at the Public Accounts Committee, especially, and this is another thing which is a conflict of interest. I don't understand why Azimio people were not there asking those hard questions. If that money had disappeared, if you quoted like now, like the one for the 56 billion for the El Nino, the fund which disappeared even before El Nino started, it went somewhere, Jake, hakuna mali ati pesa haiwezi, hata kama iliendaga na Adakweb kama Dabish, iko na mtu ilienda kwake, ama it went to a certain someone's investment. An investment, it has some people inside that investment. So that is the question people in the Public Account Committee should be asking.
Now,
So now,
Stella, if you remember the control of budget, if we now even talk of how we spend our money, one time when he was grilled, he said that in 26 minutes, through a WhatsApp text, not even a call or a very formal means of communication, very formal in terms of maybe going to the office, a letter or something, through a WhatsApp text, not knowing people can use or can defraud you using text, even WhatsApp. So this is nakuwa hacked. She allowed. She allowed. Just one moment. Just one moment. She allowed. Just one moment. My problem was not even the hacking. My problem is she released, was it 26 or 17 billion just through a text. That is Margaret, the controller of budget. In a clip I've just played, she confesses that she releases money to pay bills, that she does not understand how the bill was acquired, how it was used, and how much is remaining even after payment of the bills or of the debts. If the rot is so deep to the Office of Control of Budget that now she's fighting these challenges in court, despite them being twisted, who really is the beneficiary? Because somehow, this money, as you're rightfully saying, kuna mahali huwa inaenda. Are we not able to trace this money? Even if they're in offshore accounts, we had the Pandora paper. Don't we have countries that can expose and say, in our country, there is so and so who has stashed some money? Don't we have some policies, that help countries, to keep check of other countries so that we don't have people stealing our money? Because control budget anasema yeye wana release do but haezi account. CS anakuja anasema we don't have money. President anasema tuko sawa. So even for starters, even who do we believe? The president says we are doing very well. We are now stable. The CS says we are not stable. The controller budget says the money we use, we pay for things we cannot understand. You remember Jimmy and Jiggy said that even the country doesn't have debt. So wewe kama mimi na wewe, like wewe kama mraia tu, what do you make of all this?
Total BS. Total BS. Nyakango says that he got a WhatsApp message.
Yeah.
Enda kwa Tukola, utuambie imetoka kwa nani. Hata kama ni proxy, we want to know whether it is Karaoke, Ekoet, nani Otieno or what. That number angekuwa ameshajua, he could have said it. That's why
alisema ilikuwa ya tano.
Look, hata hizi vitu wanaendaka pale kuenda kuongea ati before the Senate, before the committee. The problem is there they talk is hot here. Me as a Kenyan, mi nataka kujua ni Jex aliniambia withdraw 25 billion wendo uweke kwa proxy account yangu enye iko Cayman Islands. I want to buy an apartment. Okay, if you are starting the money at Cayman Islands, where they say that there is no jurisdiction of tax, or also they are trying to hide the identity of who are hiding there. They're stealing the monies. So there's a kind of a law, I can't remember, that certain type of law. If someone has maybe withdrawn money from the exchequer, it goes to another offshore account. We need to know, because the thing is, hiyo pesa ibabagwi kama nani, anaitangwa nani ule wa season 1 alibabaga nani na stash na ile Nigerian bags.
Kafura.
The thing is, hii pesa inaendaga na wire transfer. So the central bank should also come out and say that this money was EFT'd in Cayman Islands under this name. It went to this association, or it went to this whatever bank account, and this bank account, it paid a certain amount of money of a certain property. Let me tell you, links cannot be hard to get. The thing is, this is the thing which we called it's called what? This is the thing where we want to see that the public is being shown what is happening. You know, sisi tunadanganywa na TV. And this is the thing I'll have to blame the media. Why do you go for such hearings and yet they are not even giving any pertinent, not evidence findings? Because if you go there, Nyakango is there for 20 minutes, muneka kwa KTN, ama muneka nini for 50. If she was there since 8 o'clock till 6 o'clock, the media should come out and record all that. After if they have to air anything on that day, they should give such things. But another problem is wanatupatia a 20 minutes clip, 20 minutes clip, 20 minutes clip, which is not making any sense. Because even at times, the media, they are at risk. You see, there's certain information, huwezi toa. Because you be inflicted, kusema, utaezambiwa, you defamed someone. Or maybe the information which was given, you misconstrued. And also, you see, you can be at risk. But the thing is, all this public accounts committee or this committee where they go and sit down and ask questions, they are not asking the hard question as me and you, Jake. Nikuuliza, okay, ulitumia WhatsApp. Namba ni gani? I believe everybody. Kwa hiyo nini committee wako na Truecaller. Waangalie. Hata kama imetoka committee, we need to know. Then him or her, she should come out aseme, this is the voucher, and the voucher is from the controller budget to paying Jakes. How much? 20 million going to which bank? And after that, then the bank will come and say that yes, whoever Jake received 20 million, then it was withdrawn maybe in chunks. So they have to say whether it is someone a proxy, ama tu ni mtu alikuwa enda utoe, alafu upeleke huku. Enda utoe, peleka huku. So the thing is, the media is not giving us the full answer. Another thing, a sideshow which is being created with these people of the Public Accounts Committee or any other sitting, they should ask those hard questions. If she needs to be protected under witness protection, yes, let it be. And maybe it is done somewhere, a place where is like, she can like the way the Hague, you cannot fear to give out the information. If she needs a witness protection, it cannot be in Kenya. She can be given in another jurisdiction and pour all the scenes, who and how and who got this other money. Like just like John Gedongo. You remember John Gedongo and the story of Mogaura and whatever. We need people like that who can get they can get asylum from countries to do such thing. And it's so surprising. People like IMF and World Bank, they are not giving us more money. Wakitupatia inaibiwa. Wakitupatia wanaibiwa. But now IMF should come in to save Nyakango so that wampatia asylum aseme, we gave you guys, maybe you asked for maybe 9 trillion. Okay, account for this as this money. Or Nyakango will come and say that money did not go to this project the way we were given the proposals. You see, before you're given the money by IMF or World Bank, you need to give proposals. So there is the financial and the technical proposal. Fine, the technical is there, the government, they've gotten someone to whatever. So the financial, that is how it comes in, if you're qualified or not qualified. If one bank puts money in the treasury to the exchequer, and yet Nyakango is there, she's supposed to account it. I paid 30 cash for this, nini. But now the problem is, when us we are borrowing money from World Bank or IMF, it is not for development. Someone should explain to me, why are we borrowing money from IMF and World Bank and it's not for development?
Okay. Wadau, thank you so much for being part of this show. Naona wengi mnatuma ujumbe, wengi mume like hii video. Thank you. very much. We really appreciate your feedback, your sentiment, and above all, you appreciating us through the likes. Namwona Jones Magare amelike hii video, asante sana. Teresia Nzioka, asante kwa kulike hii video. Arthur Sangoro amelike hii video, asante sana kwa kulike hii video. I see Jackson Murioki amelike hii video. Thank you. Penya Gaka, asante kwa ujumbe wako. I see it. Aha, na wengi ambao mnatuma ujumbe zenyu, karibuni sana kwa hisho. Ndio tu tunaendelea. Tuna maswala kibao, lakini cha mno ni Kenya is broke. Hata tunapokunywa maji hapa na Stella, allow me to play this clip again for you, even as we take a breather kidogo tu. We come back with part 2 of this.
This is reallocated budget
is in a financial crisis, and the government is literally struggling to stay afloat. Appearing before the National Assembly's Finance Committee, the Treasury boss says they are having difficulties in raising salaries for civil servants, let alone the MP's demands for 9 billion shillings in NG-CDF disbursement. And as our very own Stephen Leto reports, Ndongo blames the current crisis on the El Nino rains, among other issues.
Government employees could be staring at a dry Christmas holiday, going by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndungu's admission that the country is in a financial fix. Appearing before the Kuria Kimani-led Finance Committee of the National Assembly, the Treasury CS told MPs that the government has not collected enough revenue due to the extreme El Nino rains.
1 year, Kenya has gone into two extremes. There's a severe drought, and now there is El Nino. In both cases, we have reallocated budget, a supplementary budget, and recurrent budget, and even development budget to save lives, in both cases. At the same time, because those extremes also create a recession, we are not getting adequate tax revenues. So you can imagine.
According to the CS, the revenue shortfalls have been exacerbated by the heavy rains pounding the country, occasioning new demands on government funds. The failure to meet revenue targets could, in the long run, affect payment of civil servant salaries on time.
So in a sense, we are struggling just to be on the same position. By the way, I can tell you, we are even having trouble with salaries.
Ile mahali hatari tulikuwa kwa mambo ya uchumi, sasa hatuko hapo. Mambo iko sawa. Kazi ambayo tumefanya kwa miezi 5 iliyopita, tumehakikisha kwamba tumedhibiti hali ya uchumi. Sasa tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba ile kazi ambayo tulikubaliana na nyinyi tuanzishe, now that we have stabilized the economy of the Republic of Kenya.
Now, Stella, where are we? Are we broke? Are we stable?
Jake, there is money in Kenya, but we don't know how this money is disappearing. Kuko na mali nyungu imetobokea, and na hiyo nyungu lazima isiliwe. Let me ask you, Jake, and this is what this is the thing which came. What's his name?
CS Ndongo.
CS Ndongo, because I'm so angry. You cannot go to the committee and start stammering. Don't think that Kenyans are stupid. You cannot use drought, then you use El Nino. Pesa ilikuwa inaokotwa. Payslips za watu zinakatwa. Hasla, M-Pesa zao zinaangaliwa. We pay 3% what you've okotted for that month. You do your tax returns every day. No, sorry. You do your VAT returns every 20th. You collect corporate tax. The least corporate tax which you collect is from 6 million. Big companies who they give also 200 million and what? I don't understand, Jake. If we have a bloated budget. No, a bloated
wage bill.
docket.
Oh, okay.
We have people like the CAS. Till today, that office is illegal. But they are still getting money and they travel from this place to that place to this place to that place. Remember, on the economy, wanaenda na business class. Unaona mtu anapewa per diem ya kwenda Singapore. Someone is paid 9 million. If you had seen that report, the last time that report was shown, that per diems are given, which is costing the taxpayers money almost like 6 billion a month. Where someone is going joyriding because he's a CAS juu amepatiwa. Mpaka hata hii kazi ya CAS, what do? There is nothing they do. Jack, when you sit down, and I'm telling you, in my own perspective, I'm trying to tell you, like, what Njogona is trying to put is a way just he's protecting someone. If he had spoken with his full chest, thank God Miguna hayuko. Angekuwa kwa hiyo nini, angekuwa kwa hiyo public account committee. Angekuwa he could have squeezed him out to give out the answers where our money is. Jack, I cannot believe that my payslip, my colleagues' payslip, also my employees, watu wangu wa side hustle, lazima nilipe pay as you earn. Then you see there are people who are enjoying that money kununua a very expensive watch. You saw Murkomen's watch.
Yeah, not forgetting the president's belt.
The president's belt. Unakumbuka wakati miti ilikuwa inaenda kupandwa, watu walipanda helicopter. They used almost like 5 billion kwenda kupanda helicopter, kwenda kupanda miti, which does not make a common nini. So there is public wastage. So Ndongo should not come and tell us, oh, El Nino there, oh, sijui there was La Nina here, oh, sijui there was whatever here. At the end, they are not doing collection. Every Kenyan is paying their tax. And it will be so annoying.
Let me even ask you. We are broke. Let's agree for once. Let's agree. Let's even imagine that is true.
Money is somewhere, but kuna mtu anangojea aikue.
Now, let me ask you. We don't have money, if that is anything to go by. But we want to add the office of the CS, the office of the PS, we want it to be entrenched in the constitution. We want to add the leader of opposition with 2 deputies. I'm sure the 2-judge gender rule haitakosa. We want to increase the offices, but we are broke.
But you have to increase the office. No. Joke. We have to, those offices will be increased to the referendum because they have no right to amend the constitution. That thing was not in the constitution. If it has to go for those offices, they are saying we have to do a referendum to amend our constitution. Because kukona ile jurisdiction, whatever, an MP cannot do it. Because if you see some articles, you cannot, the only person who's supposed to repeal the constitution ni kwenda judiciary. They repeal and they say that they need to ongeza this one, and walirudi tena kwa Senate wa discuss kitu. But are you saying they are going behind our backs? They are going behind our backs. Jake, let me tell you, there is money in Kenya. If you're telling me that Kenya is broke, kesho asubuhi wacha tuone kama hiyo Senate watu wataenda. Kesho asubuhi wacha tusikie Ruto amekwama India, ndege haiwezi tua ikuje juu tumekosa kulipa parking ama ndege imeishiwa na mafuta. You know, flying is not at the, oh, you postpay, you prepay. Let's know if Kenya is broke kama stima hazitawaka. Let's know Kenya is broke when people are not going to offices. Let's know when Kenya is broke kama soko hazijafunguliwa. We have money, Jake. Ni mtu ameficha pesa mahali.
Now, let me ask you.
Sorry?
Is that not an excuse watatumia? We are broke that we now need to sell KICC. We are so broke. We need to sell Kenya Meat Commission. We need to sell Kenya Ports Authority. We need to sell We are so broke. We need to sell them. Eh?
Why are you selling
Don't you
paracetamol?
see? It is we are being prepared. Eh? Our minds are being
No.
prepared that we are broke. We need to sell.
No, there is money. If you can sell a paracetamol, remember you have to get consultants, and you have also to do bids, and you also have to do the advertisement. You also need to have to do some logistics. It will cost you billions. Selling a paracetamol si kama shamba tu unaiona unaambiwa na savia ndio ile alafu mnapimiana macho ama unalipa mafuti na mguu. Selling a paracetamol, remember, it's like selling a company. There are people there, there are assets there, there's liability there. You get. So Kenya has money. Ni mtu it is only mtu anakuwa anasema wacha ijae kwa ngunia. Unaona venye ngunia viazi inajazanga mpaka wanashoneleanga juu na kaneti pale juu. They want that money. Ikishafika hapo, they finya the button, it goes where it is going. This issue of they were saying they wanted to sell paracetamol. I can ask you a genuine question. Okay, you want to sell KICC. Okay, unauza KICC. Hiyo pesa ukipata ya KICC utafanyia nini? I'm asking you, Jake, what would you do?
We will not be broke.
No.
Broke tena.
Wait a minute. Can I give you a scenario? If I sell my house, maybe for 10 million. Jake, are you trying to tell me that 10 million will take me a lifetime? Your pesa itaisha tu hivi. Pim. You see? So there's a cartel behind. He's trying to put in a way that our country is so bad we cannot afford. Let me tell you, ajaribu kuzia our own Kenyans. Or what they could have done, they could have said, look here, we are disposing these things. We want to have. We are disposing these parastatals. We want it to be run privately. So that means that wewe uchukue, you run it, wewe unilipe ushuru yangu. But if you want to sell, that means there's an investor somewhere outside Dubai, Lebanon, wapi nini kukuja kununua. Akishanunua, ujue hiyo ni property yake.
Okay.
So what happens? We are going to be disadvantaged. So if you sell Kenya Meat Commission, remember there are farmers who are there, who they really depend from that Meat Commission. Ndio wapeleke ng'ombe zao ziende zichinjwe hapo. Haya, usisahau kwa hiyo Kenya Meat Commission inakuanga na CSR. Kwa hiyo Kenya Meat Commission, everybody as a Kenyan am entitled to have a share. That's why I'm telling you right now, Nairobi Stock Exchange, people like Kenya Breweries, Nation, Kenya Power, Kenya Airways, nani, or water, they're out of the Nairobi stock market. Why? Because wanakataa kuiweka kwa IPO. Because mkiweka kwa IPO, Kenya can afford. Kenyans can afford. Let me tell you, if they believe they can sell Kenya Power, I swear, Jake, yeah. Asaba tu kesho, Kenya Power inauzwa na tunaweka IPO. I'm telling you, Kenyans who are going to buy that Kenya, and we run it at our own whatever. Because unaona Kenya Power, it's a parastatal, but it's a monopoly. Everybody
it's making losses. But it's equally making losses.
Which losses?
It's registered losses in terms of billions.
Wapi? You can buy $6 unabuy kwa Iba Africa, unabuy kwa Thika Power, unabuy kwa kwa PPS mingi, the power independent power purchasers. Don't tell me that Kenya Power is broke. Kenya Power has money. It's only the thing is it's management and misappropriation of funds and abuse of office. I think I've lost you.
That is Stella for you. Stella, before we even go further, just a few days ago, we had issues. I think we even had it in a show here. We talked of edible oil, and we even asked ourselves, what's the opposite of edible? And someone told us it's unedible. And interesting enough, Kev, I think yesterday, went out and said that oil is now good. It's now good for human consumption. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but we live in a country where oil can be termed illegal. Oil that was bought using your money, that money that we are saying we don't have, that money that now we are saying we are so broke we don't have money, but the ones we are having, we are buying edible oil that is not fit for human consumption. There's a woman mwenye alininype. Listen to this woman, and then I'll be having you back, Stella. Just a moment.
Wanaleta mafuta ya saladi. Hiyo mafuta wenye kuleta wako kwa serikali, lakini hiyo mafuta imejulikana kwamba iko na sumu yenye ingeua na kufagia Wakenya wote. Serikali ituambie ilikuwa inataka kuleta watu wa Europe kuishi Kenya, ama walikuwa wanataka kuleta watu wa Saudi Arabia ama India wakuje kuishi Kenya. Sisi tutaki kunyanyaswa na tutaki hata kama wana nguvu, mabawa na mapesa, waache sisi na umaskini yetu. Tutapanda mboga, tupande sukuma yetu na ugali yetu tukule, bila kuletewa sumu. Naweza sema ni ya sumu, alafu wanapitisha kando, inafika kwa maduka tena. Kwa hivyo shetani ya Kenya kwanza ishinde. Hatuoni kama wako na nia mzuri na Wakenya, na ndio waanze kupanga makaratasi itengenezwe, iseme inaenda Kenya. Hii serikali iko wapi? Ni kutafuta tu vile wanatuchaji kila taxes yenye inaingiza kwa mfuko zao. Naomba hiyo mafuta ikiletwa hapa Kenya ipelekwe State House kwanza, wakule wiki mbili, kama hawatakufa hiyo mafuta iende kwa maduka. Kila kitu yenye inapita hapo Mombasa wakuwa wanapeleka kwanza State House. Ruto na Recho wakule, kama tusikii kama wamekufa, ndio walete sasa watuuzie wengine tukule, si ndio? Tena naenda kuandika mswada huko kwa bunge, sijui kama wetangu atakubali niseme kila kitu yenye inapita ikuwe sukari, mafuta, chocolate, vindu vya bareranga vyosi kipite kwanza iende State House. Alafu tuteke masikio, kama tusikii nduru ndio walete kwa maduka.
Stories za jaba.
Huyo lady alininype. Sorry ladies and gentlemen, I had to play that lady because alinijengea siku. But it's interesting that now that oil has been termed safe, but even before that oil, you remember a few months ago kulikuwa na story ya sukari kaambio sio fiti, and in fact hii mwaka ya 2018 ilikuwa banned in 2018. It was supposed to be destroyed, somehow ikaporwa and it was sold. Of course Kenya Kwanza had to play PR and few people were sacked. Hii ni mafuta imefika, no one has been sacked, and I can guarantee hii mafuta itauzwa somehow itauzwa. In any case, it's not even the first consignment, it's the second consignment. What's your take on all this, Madam Stella?
Jake, wacha nikuambie mtu mwenye anaweza kuwa na ulimitabu ni ile jini. Hebu tulize Jake, lakini si kwa ubaya. You see, this is a propaganda. It is only to divert. You see what happens? They create a reaction to cause. They create a distraction to cause a reaction. So now this story ya edible oil, what people know what is happening, kuko na mtu alioda mafuta from the high seas. So what happens? It is like the same thing yenye ilikuja hapa kama petroli. Si unakumbuka petroli? So no one wanted to take ownership, but they had to put someone in between to ionekane, weka hapo, ukae kama ni weka ikae ni mafuta ni yako. Ikipita ninakupea percentage. Isipopita mafuta ni yako. Now this edible oil, there are people who are called Kenya KNTC. KNTC, they were responsible to get that oil ikuje huku. Now what happens, like people like Kappa oil, akina Bidco oil, akina nini, there are those supplements wanataka ndio watengeneze hii mafuta yao. So what happens, there were two CSs who were involved, Moses Kuria and his counterpart, the agriculture guy, he's called
Mithika Rinturi.
Now what happened, hii mafuta venye ilikuja, they started to have power battle. So there was someone who got the higher bid, but Moses Kuria, because he's adamant and arrogant, he started fighting his counterpart. Now the counterpart wakianza kufight na Moses Kuria, hapana, wewe nipe hii, nikupee kickback, hapana, mimi namjua kasi hivyo nitakuanika. You know, ni ile story ya kuletana in between. Remember mwenye anaumia ni nani? Mwenye amedock hiyo edible oil. Remember hiyo edible oil bado ikikaa hapo itaenda kuharibika. So one of them, I don't know, alikimbia wapi akasema because hii story venye imeanza kukaa hivi mbaya, wacha tuite watu wa KEBS wakuja wasema nini inaita waje, mafuta ni mbaya. KEBS wakakuja wakaandika statement. So me as a Kenyan tunasema because nini mafuta ni mbaya, tusienda kufanya nini, tusishughulike na tusinunue. But in between mafuta ikajipata imeingia wapi? Imeingia kwa soko. So ni nani anakula? It's between the CS, the two CSs. Remember KNTC was there. In between ndio wachezea watafute blame game. So unaona ni watu wanajaribu kujificha under an organization. You see, if you ask, when Mithika Inturi was questioned how that oil ilikuja aje, yani yeye ndio anasimamia hiyo docket ya agriculture, because you see it's something which is like consumable and not and more. Anasema hapana, hiyo oil ilikuja wakati kuna huyu mtu alikuwa anaitwa CS wa trade. You see, trade and agriculture does not meet. Unajua, you trade, you go and negotiate the bill, alafu ipite. But unaona, that story, it was involving the two CSs. So that means it was a deal gone wrong. So the thing is, what they do, they go and call the media. Because that time nakwambia kama hiyo mafuta ingepita Jakes, hatungepata hii story kwa gazeti. Lakini since ilikuwa inapigana na mafahari wawili, mwenye anaumia ni KNTC, someone had to come out akuja ambie media. So the media ikakuja ikaweka story ikakuja ikaleta story on the breaking news on the front part of the page. Now, what is so surprisingly to me is that you have someone who's called a president, or you have someone who's the head of civil servant, he's called Sijui Felix Koskei. Why can't you go and summon these two people? Because they're abusing their powers as CS. Them, they're not supposed to be engaged in issue of transaction of commodities or what. That is not their business. Their business is just not to give instruction, just to oversee and be flower girls. Leave the back ikuwe ya mtu mwingine. But now the thing is, waliacha other people back out of the door. So remember, the people who are there, like there are four. Mafuta, hiyo nini Kidok, kuko na KPA, kuko na KEBS, kuko na KRA, because unajua lazima wakote tu pesa toa. So the thing is, history ya edible oil, even I'm so surprised juu wanaongea sahi, isha kuliwa, tumekufa, hatujakufa kama mende. It is a story they are just creating. But now it shows you the rot. No, it shows you the rot with these cabinet secretaries. If someone like Felix Koskei, because the other day, was it yesterday, he was saying that he wanted to be given more powers to sack and rehire, sindio? Because he had that nini. Mbona hakuweka Rinturi and Moses Kuria waambiwe, hey bro, fanya hivi. Junaona hii kitu imelipuka, itabidi mukae nyumbani kidogo. Ndio tufanye nini? Investigation. And even the president could have fired these people, iwe funzo kwa wengine wao. So, let us story like the rotten government, and surprisingly, economic CSs. The other time, there was another CS who was involved with story at Cambridge, if you can remember. And it was so shocking when Yalivutwa was the managing director. Was it the managing director or what? But I remember the CS had to resign. Okay. I think it was the CS who helped me, Nakumicha. There's a lady who was under Nakumicha. Resigned because of pressure. But remember, his counterpart his counterparts walikuwa wamefanya nini? Walifutwa. So Ruto, it was even before, it was even on the top dailies. So now why can't he do the same as this one?
I want to ask you a question because we are broke. I still want to stick to that element of us being broke. Just one moment. Just one moment, Stella. Just one moment, Stella. We are broke and we have some interesting offices. I want to do something I've never done in this show. And I want to compare two offices that I don't think I've ever done in this show, ever. Maybe it has been done elsewhere, but for the first time ever, I want to ask this question. We have the office of the First Lady. Maybe it has been done elsewhere. But according to what I remember, I remember Beyond Zero campaign by the former First Lady. I would see her go for marathons and run. I would see the mobile clinics. I know of an institution that has a full hospital that was flagged by her and was constructed to completion. That is in Nakuru level 5. Actually, it's called Margaret Kenyatta. Now we have a First Lady. What is her role currently?
Sema tu waliendaga na wahubiri ya New York. Tutaelewa.
What is the role? What is the role of the current office and how is it impacting Kenyans? I remember ilipewa some bicycles. I don't know if you remember, there was some donations of several bicycles. I didn't see them being given to Kenyans. Juzi nimeona amepewa mafuta na vyakula. Among many things that she received as an office. There is a budget in tens of billions that goes to that office.
What?
Now, let's start with that office. Let's start with that office. How is the office of the First Lady in Kenya now influencing or affecting the lives of Kenyans from where you sit?
To me, let me be bold and I tell you the truth. I think that was a selfish office. Can I say it is a selfish office? Because for one, if you're funded to do the work of a First Lady, you want to go and pretend to be Princess Diana, get your ass off. We see you doing things. Number one, she's a woman like me. Angekuwa support the vulnerable women. Angekuwa support women who are disadvantaged. Support watoto. You need to show something like, I'm not saying that you need to be like Mahatma Gandhi. The thing is, Mother Teresa, I want to see the First Lady today went to maybe hospitals and maybe bailed out some mothers who were unable to pay bills to check out because of their maternity bills. Tick. Okay, the next thing, he went, saw some mothers who were like abused in marriages, FGMs and what. Then you bring a kind of a what do I put it? Not a public show. I mean, you show at least some empathy. Unajua. Just don't sit behind. You look like a housewife. You get what I'm saying? Unakaa nyumbani nini. If you see like if you see like some other countries like Arabs, they have the emirs and they have their wives. These people, they get involved in socio-economic issues, like maybe they'll go to schools, donate books, go to school, maybe it's called empower children. Like right now, you see even the world now is revolving in a way like people now, genders are changing, creating awareness. I've never seen for Mama Rachel. Let me nisikudanganye, wacha tu nikwambie. At least for Margaret Kenyatta, at least she had that social whatever engagement, like You know, the first thing is about mortality. You know, mothers are vulnerable, kids and what. At least you could see there's some awareness she was bringing in. Because unaona kama hiyo mobile clinic, she was bringing maybe mobile nearby where women can able to have their children other than walking miles and miles and miles. You get, at least she could engage with the public. But now for this one, for Mama Ruto, hii kanisa napelekaga huko kwake, mimi sielewangwi. I don't understand why she's sanitizing herself with the church. Yet you know you have the evil in that house.
When you look at the current office of the second lady, I don't know what she's called. Is it DP? His office, Dorcas. Office seems to be slightly active. You know, she's advocating for the boy child. We are seeing her going to prison. We are seeing her doing something.
Yeah, that one
Why is it that the office of the first lady seems to be quiet? In any case, we are only seeing her in maybe merry-go-round kind of forums, the joyous women, such. But we are yet to really see her come out strong as the former first lady, have initiatives that will impact the lives of many Kenyans. Of course, she adapted Kakamega Forest, but I'm yet to see the impact. What could be happening? Is it that she's unable to? Is it that she is preoccupied by other things? Or probably this office, we really need to relook at how do we fund? Do we just fund simply because you're married to someone else? We just fund you, even if you have nothing to do, even if you have something to do, we just fund. Is it time we relook at some of these things? Because we're wasting money, and if I remember correctly, funds were added to that office. We had spent most of what was allocated. She needed more. But as Kenyans,
where is this office at? Me, I've never known. Because street gani.
The office of the first lady.
I want to see an office. I want to see a chair. I want to see a curtain. I want to see a PA. I want to see a
it's
cleaner.
there.
I want to see a hotel.
The
No,
office is there.
I'm saying. Okay, if it is virtual, we can understand. But what have you involved yourself in social nini? And you're saying Kenya is broke. Jake, able to fikiria tena.
We are very broke. We are very broke that the PS, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, now his wife has an office. His wife also has an office. That office was launched and it had some hype in it. In fact, they were saying the funds in that office will help her do so many other things to help Kenyans. Apart from that day, have you seen her anywhere else?
No. Mi namwona tu kwa kanisa akiongea hotea. I mean, let me tell you.
We are talking of Mudavadi's wife now. We are talking of Mudavadi's. But she has an office. Her office was launched as well.
Okay, what does that office do? You see, Jake, when you have an office, you need to give out the basic minimum what you do. Do you go and get people to go end off a street? Do you get people to go to some slum to give food? Do you get people to go to maybe to go and engage guys who are disadvantaged, kwenda kwa jela, nini, whatever? Do you do anything about rehabilitation? Me, I need to understand those things. Me as a Kenyan. Lakini mi ukiniambia ati there's an office for Terry Mudavadi, sijui Dorcas Gachagua, okay, fine. For her, she's saying, let's protect the boy child because of the Changa story, drugs, and what. But she's not done enough. She's not done enough. Because if she's engaging to that thing, she has to kind of collaborate with guys of Nakada. She has to cooperate, to coordinate with some counties like Moranga, because it's the one of the most disadvantaged people are into drugs and alcohol and everything. She was very active. Even she can go and create a bill. Aseme huku kwenye kuna kwanga na boy child who are disadvantaged na drugs na nini on the county level, history ya kwenda kufagia nini. They don't employ people, they engage these people. Or even in prisons, she goes to prison and says, don't overwhelm these people like beating them and what, and get them in a way how to tell them, if you out of the prison, how can you be rehabilitated not to use drug again? Or she can go to other countries to get antidotes for these drugs and watoto wanakunywa. Because I know the only person when an antidote clinic is Joho. When Mombasa was inflated with a lot of heroin users. because a lot of people in Mutwapa, all of them were like, they were affected with drugs. Joe had to bring a clinic from I don't know which country so that people can have antidote, because guys were dying like walikuwa nakufa kama mende kila siku. Because you see, hata ukijaribu kuambia an addict aache, hawezi acha na siku moja. If Dorcas Gachagua angekuwa nini, bring more rehabilitation clinics. Put them in counties. You don't need to come to Nairobi. You don't need to go to Kisumu or what. Put a rehabilitation center there. Eka watu wa rehabilitate, nurses, healthcare workers, nini, like those people. They can also go to polytechnic. If you are rehabilitated, you are skilled maybe with small things like carpentry, kupika chapati, mafundi wa kushona nguo, like that. But yeah, it's something anaweka tu kwa pulpit, then she forgets. Now we are going to be in December right now. Tunaenda Christmas. Let me tell you, Joe, usistuke tukitumia almost 100 billion to launch Christmas party. The house of cards. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So this it is public waste. It's public wastage. So don't say Kenya is broke. Tuko na pesa. Ni tu mahali tu imekwama. Because hata nikwambia Jakes, hata leo nikisema tikesho siendi job, niambie tu mmoja, I can understand Kenya is broke. But tomorrow I'll go to work. The guys who are going to travel up country and what, I know people are going, but unaona sasa watu wamejifinyilia sana Jake. So venye Professor Ndongo anatuambia hapa hakuna pesa, kuko na pesa. And the people are not asking the right questions. That is my issue. Mimi ndio issue yangu. If they had made that thing equal public, waseme tu watu public waenda hapo waulize, hapana, wacha kutupatia kizungu mingi. Wewe tuambie nani hiyo pesa? Ni nani ulisainia check? Siko na jina, tupatie jina ni nani. Hiyo tu.
Okay. Anaitwa Madam Stella. It's a pleasure to have you hapa kwa studio. Pia wewe asante sana ambao unajiunga nasi tunapokaribia kutamatisha show. Lakini zaidi ya yote, thank you so much for being part of this great conversation. Now, I have some great interesting news for you, our viewers. This coming Sunday, yes, you heard me right. This coming Sunday at 10 p.m. Kenyan time, we have another great show happening here. Now, this show will inform you of several things. One, how to go about the issue of land. Huku nje watu wameporwa mapesa jamaa. Huku nje watu wamepoteza pesa kibao. Wameenda broke kama venye Kenya tuko broke kwa sababu ya kuporwa the hard earned money because of people ambao wamejua jinsi ya kuhadaa wa Kenya na stories za land. Now this Sunday, we have guys who will come and speak so well about how to go about the issues of land, the dilemma in land acquisition, how you go about it, ways not to be defrauded. Yeah, we'll have guys as well who will be telling us their experiences on land. Vile wamekoniwa pesa, vile wamepoteza some money. And we will have that show from 10 p.m. Kenyan time. For those in the US, it will be around 2 p.m. Those in UK, it will be very early, in the evening, I think, around 6 there about. But in Kenya, itakuwa 10 p.m. Please don't miss out this show. Tell a friend to tell a friend. On Sunday, 10 p.m., we have a land show. Watch this even as we continue with our show here with Stella. Happening this Sunday, the 10th of December 2023. Of course, it was planned earlier. That's why one of the dates was in a conflict, but it is happening this Sunday. Please don't miss, Don't miss. We promised you to bring you different kind of shows, and we begin this Sunday. Stick around to watch many types of programs happening here at Afrique. So how do you even get to know these programs? By subscribing. Kimbia up on YouTube, subscribe to Afrique 24. Subscribe to Afrique 24. Be part of this growing family. The other thing, subscribe or rather follow us on our Facebook page, Afrique 24, and let us keep you entertained. Asante sana wewe ambaye umekuwa ukitufuatilia show zetu na kuwa part ya wale wana subscribe na wale wana like video zetu. Today I was privileged to have Stella with me, and we were discussing the revelations that were coming from our CS Treasury that Kenya is broke. Kenya is broke. We have no money. We have no money. Money to pay our workers. Money even to release CDF. How did the CS come to speak about this? This came about after the Haki Yetu moment in Parliament. I don't know if you watched that. The Haki Yetu moment made the MPs to question why the government has not released the CDF money. The MPs were kind of on a strike, and it was interesting in Parliament the day before yesterday. This is what happened. Okay.
The line, the government is always supporting their executive programs to the detriment of CDF. So what we are saying is that we have suspended all sittings, all government businesses until CDF is expanded to our schools. Now, in January, new students are joining Form 1. There are those who are continuing in high school. So we are saying they must provide money now and not later. No CDF, no parliament. 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 No CDF, no parliament.
Now, Stella, at what point did our legislators become managers of money? Because we want to change the constitution so that MCA akuwe na pesa zake. So you can imagine if hii drama ingekuwa kwa MCA county offices, hii drama ikuwe kwa senators, because we want to have them have a Senate Oversight Fund, and we equally have parliament. Wote wagome kwa sababu hawajapokea pesa zao. At what point?
What is the function of a CDF? You see, this thing called CDF, this thing is abused. It's really abused. You see, I will not be surprised if they're not going to be given CDF money, because hata wakipewa, they're not going to, what do you call? They're not going to fund their constituency. They will let the common wananchi to fund himself. If you can see some people who've been asking for CDF, yet wakitisha hiyo pesa ya CDF, waongezagi mashule, hawaongezi mahospitali. Sasa wanasema ati wanataka sijui ya kulipia watoto inaitwa education fund. There's nothing. Your education fund was walitoa. So that means economy wananchi, you're on your own. So this CDF money, I think it should be frozen. But I know counties can survive without CDF money. The issue is here. Why should an MP ask for that CDF money, and yet we have a governor mwenye anapatiango funding na what do you call it? It comes from the main, from up there, from up there. So
From national
the function
government.
of that national government, but remember the county has to also quota their own revenue, so they are being topped up with the national government. But now the problem is these MPs, when they need this CDF, if you try and ask 3 or 4 MPs from your area, what have you done with the CDF which you borrowed in the year of 2022, 2023? Okay, atakwambia nilipeleka watoto wengine shule. It cannot be 10 billion kupeleka mtoto mmoja. 10 billion can do a lot of things, Nani takes. These MPs, if you ask them how many constituency, the primary schools which are there, tell them to name 3 or 4. They cannot. If you wacha kuna wengine wacha kwambia, the sad story is kuna wengine hata hawezi enda kutengeneza hata choo ya shule. Remember, shule, there are many kids there. So the first thing, they need to have a sanitary place, I mean, where to relieve themselves. If you go and check some other schools, ratini niko karibu kuanguka ama ingine ishaja. Then unasikia a certain education guy aende kwa county aseme ambia MP tunataka pesa ya kulima choo ingine ishaja. You know what ambiwa aje? Hakuna pesa. So me, I'm very happy CDF money wasipewe, wacha wateseke, because they want to go and buy new cars and build apartments, and that cannot be allowed. Me as a Kenyan, me as a constituent, where my constituent kwenye nakaa, I'm in Dagoretti South. The Dagoretti South, the same primary school zenye ziko hapo hazijaiongezwa class, hazijaiongezwa laboratory, hawajaiongeza hata an extra stream of maybe a gym class. They've never even made a fence. Akuna. Yeah? If you check the state, our police station, it is so pathetic. Hata polisi mwenyewe anaogopa.
But so, Mbunga hapa, I think ni John Kiari.
Let me tell you. If this pesa CDF ingekuwa, let me tell you, it tells you that the county could even have performed better, other than to have people coming all the way to Nairobi because of treatment or not. If CDF money kama unaweza enda kutengeneza a hospital. So why are they crying? That money isitoke, wacha ikae hivyo, wacha wateseke.
Stella, one of the roles of a parliament member is to legislate and of course to make laws. But at times unakuta parliament lacks quorum. Reason being, mbunge ako busy akipeana CDF, mbunge ako busy akifanya development kwa constituency.
Gani?
That would be their claim. Now my question is, let's take, for example, they use that money to give bursaries, right? Governor anakuwa na bursary, MCA wengine wanakuwa na bursary, MP ako na bursary. In one locality, let's take, for example, the smallest unit. In one what do you call?
Let's say Starehe.
Yes, Starehe ward. It has an MCA, it has an MP, it has a women rep, it has a governor. Of course, senators don't have money. These four representatives, it will give bursary. My first question to you is, do they have data to make sure they don't give the same student more than once? Number two, can they come out and say, ever since CDF started, these are the number of students we have been able to educate, number one. Two, these are the number of students who get annual bursaries. This is the amount, and this is what remains. Let's say if a child deni yake ni 5,000, CDF caters for 1,000. So ile balance inabaki ni another 4K. so the parent can be able to get the 4K. My question is this CDF always enough for our students? I think the answer is no. Do they have other projects they are doing? The answer is, of course, no. We will see them launching party offices, ODM office, UDA office, but not hospitals, not big hospitals, not big police stations, not big facilities, not big schools. 1 or 2 MPs will do tiling of their schools, roads of their road, improve their roads, but some are doing absolutely nothing. We don't see them in parliament, they're not making laws, they're not improving their constituencies. So this CDF somehow is not properly accounted for. Do you think this money is used prudently? That we are able to have data, we can get the data, so that the women rep does not give money to the same person who was given by the MP, who was given by the government. We don't have a replicated form of bursary to one individual or to a group of people, because people can be clever, people can concoct ways to get money from all these leaders. And then again, why should the government give you money to pay the government? Because some of these schools are government schools. Why can't this money directly be channeled to the schools directly without the involvement of all these guys? Because eventually that's how money is lost. Because if you remember, there were what we call ghost students, ghost schools that money was channeled to, and money was lost. Remember, Songo tried to reveal that money was lost because some people had created ghost pupils or ghost students who receive bursary every year or every term. Schools that even don't exist. You can imagine if someone can create a school that does not exist and even create the number of students in that school, how much money is this individual getting? So, with all those questions, the bottom line question would be, do you even really need this CDF?
We don't need a CDF. I mean, okay.
Mhm.
We as Wananchi, we need that CDF, but we need someone who can able to account and can give an audit. Remember, MPs, MCAs, women rep, and whoever, whenever they are given that money, they can account by word of mouth. But if you try and tell them to give us as an audit to show how that money was dispensed and used. Now, like the way you're saying that kuna kuanga na wale ghost students, that money is not given twice to the same student. Here is the thing. If we have Starehe constituency, there are number types of, let's say there are maybe 10 primary schools. So what the responsibility of the county rep should be doing is to go to those schools, take the database and see who are the children who are less fortunate, they can be given the bursary. So the check or the money is dispersed to the school account by the MCA or the women rep or whoever. So they're meant to do their groundwork. So once they come back, the student will come and give us a testimony to say, I never paid school fees for 1 year because the bursary had, I mean, the county had already taken care of it. But now the problem is MCAs and these leaders, they want to have it on their hands. And that is a risk factor where even the national government is trying to stop it. But now the thing is, you see, if they went and they are taken to maybe the parliamentary committee or the parliament, they are interrogated, they're intimidated. You know, they'll go with the majority. So remember, this money of the CDF, it's put in the county account. So who is the signatory? The exchequer. The exchequer is the CEC. The CEC will be intimidated. No, I need 10 billion from this. No. Go and ask the governor. Governor will be like, why do you need? You see, there is a fight. Because you see, the governor is also even dispensed with some money. But now this money for CDF, imagine, Jekni kuambia kuko na mahali, there is a school in Moranga during the 1970s and what? That school till to date hajaiko mabati. Matufali inaka ikisink anytime inaweza ua mtoto. And yet the governor of that place, Kangata, cannot go and simple renovation hata kununua mabati dumu zas haezi yeka, because unajua lazima atiende through approval. Approval gani? Mabati watoto wananyeshewa, watoto wanachomwa na jua, kuko na vumbi. What approval do you need? Kununua mabati ya dumu zas, si kuko na receipt, kuko na ETR. Go take it to the CEC, tell the CEC nimenunua mabati 200 ya hii shule, nimelipa mafundi petty cash ni this amount, nimewalipa na M-Pesa, ndio hizi screenshot. So what my question is, this CDF money should not be released. Should not be released. The county government should go and get their own people on the ground. They go and do their they go and do their survey on the ground. They come and say there is no road on this place. The hospital which is there, it is not sufficient because the dispensary has no bed. Ama the dispensary, the bucket or the toilet or the whatever, those things, nitty-gritties, you get. So that is when the MP can say, kweli ninaweza account. But sasa hawezi account. Go and ask an MP, give me your audit of showing you got CDF of 10 billion. What did you do with it? Nakwambia Jake, utakimbizwa kwa hiyo parliament uanze kukua intimidated. Or someone is sending you hitmen to hit you because you asked the tough questions. So maybe to me, what hiyo pesa ikwame, wasipewe. Kama shule imefagiliwa na flood, let the governor do that work. Then the governor will be accountable and aibishwe na senators. Kwa nini hii shule haikutengenezwa na ilifagiliwa na floods? But who is the MP to go and answer the senator? MPs wako na kiburi sana because even they don't even respect the Senate. So to me, I can say, wacha wabaki hivyo, wasipewe. Let's see whether they are going to die if there is no that CDF.
Okay. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up the show. But before I even give Stella the final opportunity to give her closing remarks, baada ya kusikia Kenya ni broke, a certain song came to my heart. And today I'm generous. Allow me to play you a song. Stick around, we'll be back.
Kenya is not broke. We have money. Ni mtu amefita. Kenya is not broke.
We will be back after this. We'll be back after this.
Bei ya mkate hawajui, ona bidhaa zinazidi panda bei,
wameshikana waumize masikini, wanakoroka katiba iwafaidi.
Ameuza mayai huyu hatatuelewa, anajua shida huyu hatatuelewa. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu huyu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu huyu. Tuwachague vipi?
Na wamama wetu wanazalia barabarani. Aje tuwachague.
Na biashara zetu wanaharibu zote. Ameuza mayai huyu hatatuelewa, anajua shida huyu hatatuelewa. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu huyu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu huyu.
Hasla.
wetu sasa tuongozwe na mmoja wetu. Huyu ndio wetu. Ameuza mayai, huyu atatuelewa. Anajua shida, huyu atatuelewa. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu huyu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu. Hasla ndio wetu, ndio wetu, ndio wetu huyu.
We, Stella, huyu Hasla bado ndio wetu ama kuna venye?
Mimi naona kuna venye sioni kana narudi tena. Aki we are annoyed. Aki Jakes. I think we should come here and feel the heat. You're laughing. I'm telling you it's not funny. Let me tell you, Jakes, what I'm going
I'm remembering the words of those. That song has some interesting words, eh? One of the sentences in that song or lines in that song is that huyu jamaa aliuza mayai anaelewa shida. Huyu jamaa anajua stories za economy. So anatuelewa vizuri. I will not have a question, but
it is so bad.
But we are broke. Ken is broke.
We are not broke. We have the money. But where that money is, the Professor Ndogo should tell us where that money is. Hatuwezi kuwa tu hivyo broke tu hivyo ta. Sasa hebu nikuulize, ndio hiyo El Nino ishapita. Okay, sasa hii mvua haiko. So unataka kuniambia mtu wowote kuanzia last week wenye walikuwa wamekata mshahara na MPs wakiferi na magari zao, sikia next week wanaenda Mombasa akikuongea sijui maneno ya sijui national government coordination ya nini. What the fuck? We know that money is there. We know that money is there. And I'm telling you, lo and behold, you'll hear another story from next week or maybe even the year before ends, that there's some certain money in a potea. And I know, even I know, like some of the MPs will come out clearly saying that we cannot go back to our constituency to go and enjoy Christmas with our constituents kwa sababu tutarushio mawe, because they made a very bad decision passing the Finance Act. That is the thing which every Kenyan is annoyed. Na kuanzia Januari, mama mboga, mtu wa boda, kila mtu atakuwa anatoa tax yake, and you must invoice your client using an iTax. So that means mtu wa boda will not have any peace. So whatever he gets, he has to declare 30% annually of what he got. So if your turnover you are expecting for 30,000 and itafika, you'll pay before you do your turnover.
Okay.
You see, the hustler has come and ameshika watu wabaya. Angeacha hustler akwe kivyake. Let me tell you, Jakes, we were paying our taxes in peace. We never, because all these other time, okay, if Uhuru was bad, angeongeza tax. We could not, watu wangesema, bas, wacha tuende sisi wote tuende Saudi Arabia, because pesa yenye unapata hausaidiki. But Uhuru alikuwa mwerevu. Alikuwa anaona the only way I can touch the hustler ni mali kwenye kuko na one thing, kwenye kuko na mafuta, hapo ndio nitawashikia. Lakini hakuingilia kwa manyumba zetu. He never taxed our household. He never taxed our payslip. But now the thing is, even the commodities which you grow from the shamba, you have to pay tax, because the thing is, ukena kuuzia mtu, this other person atakwambia nataka iTax receipt. Zile receipt ziko kwa supermarket, they are null and void, hazitatumika. So lazima kila mtu akwe na pin. So if you know you are a pin holder, just know from January, ukijua kama unaenda petrol station, you give your name, your telephone number and your PIN number, so that you're given that receipt so you can do your return.
Okay.
Same as hustler, mama mboga. Umeenda umenunua nyanya 2-3, wewe huwezi itisha risiti, lakini atakwambia hapana, ni serikali. So it is bad. And I'm telling you, they were celebrating 1 year of hustler. I've never seen that hustler fund. I've had so many people here where I live. There are a lot of mechanics. There are a lot of guys who are doing small businesses. I've asked them if they have that able to apply for the hustler fund. They're telling me it's a challenge. The only person who applied, he only got 1,000 shillings. It has never gone beyond. Then we were lied to that he had given how many millions, which nikajiuliza, so Safaricom inakupatia 200,000. Unazaje fikisha 40 million? You see, there's a story which does not make any sense end of the day. It is so annoying that this government, no one, even a small trader, has achieved what they've been achieving all those time. You cannot save. Right now, Jakes, benchmark ya kuomba loan kwa bank, you can't, because if you borrow at the bank, your risk of losing whatever you know what is dear to you, your home, your car, your land, because you cannot afford to pay the interest rates. It's not that the interest rates cannot go down. It will. But the thing is, there's a lot of bureaucracy. Is it because banks are also given targets to give it to the hustler? Because if a small trader would go and ask for a loan at the bank, the least they can pay is within 24 months. Now you can't pay. It is in the benchmark of 12%. That means you go to the bank, it is almost 16% interest rate, which you cannot even afford to pay. Yet you're knowing that banks, they also give you hidden charges. You know, you borrow 1 million, you know you'll pay within 24 months. Now, what happens if you borrow 1 million now? Now the million is not as valuable as long time ago, because now everything is expensive and the shilling is depreciating at an alarming rate. 1,000 shillings now, it's like it's worth 300 shillings. Why? Because someone somewhere went and started playing Katnini. We played with numbers. Now look, right now, the dollar rate is 153. Going to the bank is how much? It goes to 155 and above. You cannot operate business as usual. People can't save. People used to save. You try to save in your money market. Now, right now, wameingilia money market. Sasa watu wataanza barter trade. Wewe kuja na mahindi, mimi nikupe chumvi. Wewe kuja na chumvi, mimi nikupatie hivyo. Because you see now, money it's not even giving any value of life right now. Landlords are suffering because tenants are moving to smaller houses. Look at now, kids now, they are going to school next year. We don't know kama wengine wataenda shule. Now, these big, they're called what? Big ogas and big whips. They are homeschooling their children with online school. Because if a private school will repay mtoto 1 million now. Now a private school, now 1 million. School fees is not enough. You're being told top up kitu like 700,000. Ndio mtoto akuwe na comfortable education. Ndio hiyo barabara hazijamalizwa. Ndio hiyo mafuta imeongezwa. Fuel levy sasa unaona imeongezwa. Mafuta hata ya 1,000 huwezi weka hata kwa kavit. Juu itamalizikia itapoa kwa barabara. So what Hustler has done, I think he has to, this year has ended in a very negative way. Let's not lie to each other. Everything is negative. We are in a Fuliza state. All Kenyans are under a Fuliza. So this Fuliza state, we don't know when we are going to Okoa Jahazi again, because I don't see it anytime soon ikikuja Okoa Jahazi. So the thing is, I think anyone who feels that the Hustler has done something, I think someone is on high on opium meds or whatever. But as we know that things are not okay. Things are not okay. So
kwa hivyo,
from next
in simple words, Hustler si wetu sasa.
Hustler si wetu.
Okay.
Tuende safara.
And that's how we wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen. Please tune in tomorrow evening. We'll be here. Of course, I'm sure Stella will also find time for us. We will be here. We will have another interesting show, but don't miss the Sunday's edition. Sunday, we have a great show lined up for you. Please tune in and let's have a decent conversation. Stella, umai poro kwa land.
Sorry?
Umai poro ukijaribu kununua land.
Karibu nirambwe 5 million.
Sawa,
But thank
sawa.
God, I worked in the legal profession, but I worked in a legal profession. So first thing what you should do, if you know that you have identified a land, please do your due diligence. Don't let anyone do for you.
Okay.
Go do your due diligence. Usirambwe kama watu wako.
So your story at due diligence, you'll be told what is due diligence. Tell us to make kizungu ngumu, kizungu muzito. Sunday, please, wacha tumwage mtama mapema. Please be there on Sunday. We will have an interesting guest for you. We will have experts, not just anyone. I guarantee it. It will be an expert in land matters. So please tune in on Sunday. We have a great show lined up for you on Sunday. It's happening at 10 p.m. Kenyan time. And of course, in US, it will be around 2 p.m. In UK, around 6 thereabout. But Kenyan time, 10 p.m. Thank you, everyone who made this possible. Thank you to you, our viewers. Thank you, Stella, so much for making time to be with us, even as we tried to discuss more on what happened in our country, what is happening in our country. You, our viewers, you are our very special person. You are the guys who make this possible. We cannot do this without you, and you are the reason we always do this. We really value your feedback. We value your viewership. We value you making time to watch and even being part of this wonderful show. As I've always told you, this has never been a government show. Neither is it a spokesperson of the government or an extension of the opposition. This is a show for you, a show for Kenyans, where Kenyans talk and discuss things as they are. Here, we unlock stories unbiased, stories as they are, without mixing facts, discussing the way things are. This is your show. This is the African show. Asanteni sana. I'm your host, Jex, the moderator. We do this tomorrow evening, kesho sikose. Of course, I'll be with you and with others, together with Stella and many other. Please don't be left out. Be part of the great conversation. This is Africa 24. Stella suambie watu kwa heri, even as I wrap up the show. Okay. Thank you very much, our viewers. Think Stella yake imekatika before amalizie. But I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. This is Africa 24. Remember to subscribe. Let's keep the conversation going. We love you. We love all our viewers. This is your channel. This is where we unlock all the interesting conversation. God bless you. Have a fantastic one. See you whenever you see me. Bye-bye. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon, depending on where you are. God bless you. God do you well. And as I've always told you, may your name be mentioned in pleasant places. Good night. Bye-bye.